Energies are shifting and changing all the time. So we're going to do a bit of a different channel. I have some channeled notes, and it's on just because in past timelines I have been a philosopher and a part of Rudolf Steiner. He is a part of my soul family, a part of my soul recognition. So a lot of those types of energies about the repositioning and refinement of philosophy, human and expansiveness, on what we know to be about who we are, what we exist within, and what exists within us, which is really what philosophy is all about, and how to kind of navigate in new realms of beingness. And so those are the topics that we're going to dive into. So the channeled information, and then I'm just going to go into free form because I've been through some upgrades, and these upgrades are allowing me to feel more and more natural and innate with the codes of the planet and the it's kind of like the sheaths that are in the existence of realms. And because we've moved just through a new experience of ascension, the planet and the bedding, and we talked a few videos about the substrates. Substrates are the constructs that reality is based on, and that is, as we've talked about the pods, those within the pods, the planet in and of itself, the environment in and of itself, and how a being of energy or how a being of life interacts with the new codes, interacts with the new experiences. Hi, Scotty boy, sweetie. Hi, Speedy. Yeah, it's been a tough week. Yeah, we've just come out of a huge release of a lot of densities. So they're just showing me like a piece of paper that was just taken off, and that's through God and the higher realms assisting us in moving into better, higher, refined sheaths of experience. So just know that everybody was experiencing the releasing of a lot of density and a lot of dense patterns. It's really patterns, right? They're just sheaths. And as Gaia moves into this new experience, those experiences of beingness are helping the substrate and the constructs of the reality become more refined. And so I'm going to try and explain what that means, because it's everything from here on out is more multidimensional. It's going to feel multidimensional. It's all about feeling and sensing your way into these new experiences of bedding. So our bedding and our constructs and our substrates, the substrates is the omni juice of God. It is the omnipresence of God. It is the omni experience of God, and any aspect of life within that substrate, within that bedding, and how that bedding interacts with itself. So it's very, very important that we get more philosophical, we get more mystical, we get more vibrational aligned with the flow of potentiality of infiniteness, because that's source created, that's God. And it's taking us beyond all of the conformities and structures of limitation and dogmatic social constructs. So really we're breaking beyond the social constructs. We're breaking beyond the experiences that we have been conformed and aligned with. So it's really breaking free. So that's the only way that I can explain it. It is very visceral. It's very sensorial. It's very sensational within your bodies and your feelings, and it allows that aspect of the mind and the brain to just be more thought-provoking. It allows you to be more reflective, a lot more observatory, a lot more present and more silent, if you will, because you have to be silent in the experiences of just feeling that substrate, feeling that construct of God, of what's being offered. It's really profound. So the title and the heading today, I'm in a new vibration. I'm in a new aspect of myself as a soul. It is philosophical, sociological, because I want to push humanity to new experiences of beingness. And it is all about the aspects of the refinement codes, the love codes, the refinement of the soup, the water. That is that substrate that is God. The omnipresence of God has been refined. So if you so choose to believe that, if you so choose to work within that, the old earth that we were at last week or my last video is no longer. We're in a different experience. As I said, there's a lot of shifting out. So you're going to determine the shifting out based on your ability to soften and allow your allness, who are you, what do you exist within, what exists within you, to be more malleable and more fluid in the enmeshment, because that's what it feels like. It's an enmeshment within new constructs of source. It is a new flowing substrate of source. There's a lot more juice there. And if you look at the Schumann resonance, you'll know that there's activities of expansiveness and enlightenment that's going in a brand new direction. It's not so much, anchored in dogmatic responsibility anymore. We're letting all of that go. What this feels like, the best way that I can explain it, and this is what they gave me, is a harmonization of celestial ancestral experiences. So what we are in our celestial aspects and our human ancestral aspects. There is that harmonization. Therefore, this new series and this new entrance that we're moving into is going to be a lot more mystical. It's going to be a lot more shamanic. It's going to be a lot more malleable with who you are at the core of your beingness. That is what they're showing me is like a gold ball that's being lifted up from the essence of who you are, and living in that gold ball, which is your divine source God seed. That God seed has been more refined because you've released a lot of densities and you've done a lot of healing. These are for, again, my sessions and my shows are for those that have been on the path for a while, for those that are devoting themselves to live in expanded realities, those that are devoting themselves to live beyond all constructs of what was, those that are devoting themselves to live within the source essence of unity and oneness. That's the intention of my videos from here on out. Those that want expansive mind thought, to align with God, to align with celestials, new earth, unification and wholeness and oneness. Those are the intentions of my videos. So they are advanced and we are getting higher and deeper. So in these constructs that they showed me, there will be a harmonization and you will be activated in the God seed cell. That is they're showing it's directly related with God. God is pulling up those beings that are going to be placed as touch points for new earth, so that these cities of light of new earth, remember the pods, those pod teachers, leaders, and healers will be the ones that will be bringing all of these wisdoms and informations up. And it is a multidimensional experience. It's a Christ consciousness experience. It has everything to do with the new refinements that have been offered to Gaia, and Gaia is being coded as well. Because one of my questions I was asking Spirit, I was saying, well, I'm always so very involved in the ascension process, multidimensionally, biophysically, chemically, what's going on in my ascension experiences, and when I get activated and when I do have a DNA activation, all of those things that I move through, and I'm very in tune and I'm tuned with it, and then I write about it and then I do a video about it, so that those that are so desiring, when you're on your ascension path, you can get to feel for those activations that are going on within your cycle of ascension, your path of ascension, and what's being activated and how you're being modified and enhanced and empowered to move into a higher version of you. So in this higher version of review of you, there's going to be that pulling up from deep, deep within you. And as it's being pulled up deep, deep within you, you're going to have to remember that grounding is going to be so important, because your depth of grounding, your depth of anchoring this new version of you is going to alleviate that anxiety or fear of what you, as we said in our last video, is just going to be a natural, organic experience of that anxiety or fear as you're breaking into new ground, as you're breaking that permeability, because there is a permeable sheath that we have to break through. Every time you break a new version of density, whether it's a social construct, a religious construct, whether it's an educational construct, whether it's a biophysical construct, whatever those constructs are, they're changing. And that permeability layer, it's like plasma. When that plasma layer is broken, you get to move into new permeability states, like they said, constructs or the substrate. That's a new juice of source. This juice of source has been coded specifically for the celestial alien lineages. And there's a reason for this. It goes much deeper and wider than we know. Again, it's your soul blueprint, where the galaxy is going in its ascension, how the planetary's ascension galactic upgrades, because Gaia is a body of light, right? She is a body of light. She is an earthly matter being. She carries much consciousness. She is as one of us, micro, macro. Her planetary galactic blueprint for ascension is being activated in a new way, because she's in a new galactic bedding within the entire galaxy. So her galactic blueprint, her soul blueprint, her energetic soul blueprint is now shifting and changing And again, it has to do with every human that chooses to be in that environment, if you will, because everybody's on a different Earth timeline based on their temperament and their pacing. If they choose to have very limited beliefs, if they're working in disregard of the universal laws, as we talked about in all of our videos, if you're working in negativity and refusal and denial of the universal laws and the ascension path that your soul wants to take you in, as far as soul growth and soul lessons and healing that 51% of your karma, so that you can integrate your soul's lessons, integrate your soul woundings. And if you're choosing not to do that, then you're going to have that experience of the equal shifting out. The energies and the earth that I'm speaking of are this new earth concept. We're on new earth. I'm on new earth. That's the energy I'm speaking of. And this new earth energy is going to activate you into your celestial lineage, all of your celestial timelines that you have cleared and equal ownership to that 51%, because it wants to, in the access of your ancestral lineages, it wants to activate. It's just like acupuncture. That's exactly what I'm talking about, is a vibrational, substrate, omnipresent, source God, acupuncture. Those points of all that you are being activated to remember those threads of information, to remember those threads of activations of sensorial, feeling, energy stories. Just to give you what that means. Just as I'm moving about my day, I can sit in silence and I can just sit in presence, and I can feel an ancestral lineage story coming into my field, because it's a download. There's a download waiting for me. There's information that have been activated in my ancestral DNA. I've had DNA activations. I'm in a new bedding of omnipresence. I'm in a new bedding of omni-juice. I'm in the new bedding of earth. Therefore, everything that I am as a multidimensional, physical, multidimensional being is being activated in new stories that I cannot remember, because everything is now. The new all of me, the new fifth dimensional version of me, is now refined enough that I'm being able to download, to integrate and process, and then express the interpretations of what I'm sensing and feeling from an ancient Egyptian timeline. But this ancient Egyptian timeline is not one from the earth that we've just come from. It's not a 3D version. It's a higher version of Earth and the Egyptian timelines and pyramids that are on that higher version of Earth. Because remember, there are infinite versions of Earth, and every time a certain select of collective that are in physical form that have gone through a clearing process, it affects the all. The all are affected. And those that are ready to take that next level up, and those that sign on to the videos, and those that have been with me for a very long time, you are also being activated. That has to sweep away all the lower density stuff. Sometimes these activations feel, in this last series of ascension experiences, it felt very frustrating, and there was anger attached to it. That frustration and anger is because this new juice and this substrate of energy is activating, again, celestial and alien lineages. And innately within our human bodies, because of what we're shown and what we see in our outer reality, we're shown that the restrictions and the refusals, or the denial of our uniqueness, of our diversity, of our profundity of expression in our higher vibrational ways, is very discriminated. And so there is frustration, and there is anxiety, and there is exhaustion in moving into the new arenas of how we be and how we are feeling and how we are wanting to become. Because as you're activated, all you want to do is to become that new version of you. And however, the lower physical reality is still showing itself in old ways. So again, you're going to be activated in that anxiety and fear because it's just, you're in new bedding. The substrates are new. The energies are new, and it will pull up those core memories of celestial and earth lineage memories for you to now harmonize. You have to integrate that. You have to integrate, okay, I'm feeling frustrated. Okay, I'm feeling angry. Why is it that all I want to do is be new? All I want to do is be a hybrid. All I want to do is be crystalline. And yet in the outer reality, there's still the same targeting and same dogmatic experiences of wanting to conform and refine you back down to lower and put you in a box. And so those are the juices, and those are the minutia, and it's the malleability of transmuting and being more malleable in those higher celestial functionings. It is absolutely a celestial experience. It really is. I can feel in this new celestial activation, I can feel my celestials all around me, and I can just sit and surrender to what's in my field and what's in this new shifting of physical. Because as you soften into this new version of your consciousness, because it is a higher consciousness, you have to accept that consciousness. Those that you see around you that are refusing to accept higher consciousness because they don't want to, and they're refusing and they're denying the woundings they have to face, because that's a wounded consciousness. Everything is consciousness. Everything is consciousness. How you move through your ascension path working, you're accepting whatever consciousness that is to integrate it, and then to bathe it in light and love and compassion and forgiveness raises that level of consciousness. So the ascension pathway is all about your versions of consciousness that you're accepting and you're moving through and you're being permeable with. And that is ascension. That is the integration of self. That is the integration of all that you are. Because we're in a new version of space, if you will, and the Schumann is showing it to you, again, based on where you are in your consciousness, based on your consciousness acceptance of yourself, based on the consciousness acceptance you have of all that is, because all that is all that is. You can let go a lot of the lower constructs like education or dogma or religion, whatever it might be that you've put a box in. You've placed a box around yourself, whether it be health, learning, wisdoms, it doesn't matter what it is. Those are still constructs, and you can just release them and let go of them. These new arenas are, the way that I'm feeling right now, because it's still very new. It's very, very celestial. And those brought up the anxieties of already knowing that if I've gone through 50 years of being human, an ultra human, if you will, hybrid, crystalline, empathic, high functioning, and those are the discriminations that I've come from, now stepping into this higher celestial experience, all of the celestial woundings are going to come from the planets, the galaxies, the universes of that celestial experience, because you've cleansed all of the 3D 51% of being human. Those 51% of those clearings through karma does include alien lifetimes as well. So this is what some people misunderstand. That 51% is between 3 and 5D timelines, period, in the multiverse. It goes far deeper and wider than you know. Let's just say, like for me, I'm going to give this an example. Not everybody is like this because I am a multiverse being. Any one of those 3 to 5D experiences, it might have been a timeline in another galaxy in a different form, somewhat humanoid, and it had a very similar experience of discrimination. That particle of threading will be in my soul's blueprint for me to transmute and clear in an earth human experience of my 51% that I'm clearing for divine feminine and the subjugation of divine feminine, the subjugation of crystalline beings, the subjugation of Gaia, the subjugation of interesting new things, all that I am here to help transmute and help to bring in new and help to anchor in new energies. All of those subjugations are included. That's part of the 51% clearing. That's why somebody like myself that can speak of many arenas, of many dimensions, of many realms, of many planets, of many experiences, of many species, of many beings. I'm a diverse ultra experience of the multiverse. So I can speak on many aspects of beingness. And that's very, very valuable because it helps anchor a multiversal diverse code. And it's very, very needed because it's been so discriminatory and separative. So as these ancestral celestial experiences are anchored in through your beingness, you really have to focus daily and do the grounding daily is really, really important. So grounding daily will help release those anxieties that are held in the lower 2 chakras, because you're releasing fear of who you are as a celestial. And then doing daily affirmations about, yes, you're a celestial, alien, multiverse being, and you're anchoring in these new sheaths of codes and these sheaths of energies. And it will affect your sociological and your philosophical expressions, especially if you're doing your reflection work, like like, who are you? What do you exist in? And what's really going on within you? You're going to feel that celestial download into your permeability plasma field, because it's all light, it's all Christ consciousness. These philosophies will be higher vibrationally intelligent, higher vibrationally coded, higher vibrationally nourishing. You're going to be nourished as a celestial multi-vibrational being in a humanoid body. That's what it feels like. You are now into your celestial experience. They're calling it celestial existentialism. You can look that up. What existentialism, if somebody wants to put that in the comments, look it up. What is the shamanic symbolism of existentialism. And so what I'm explaining to you is the celestial existentialism. It's the experience and philosophies of what you've carried from all of your celestial experiences and realms, and you're anchoring it through this new humanoid body. It is a very tough word. It's like reciprocal. I can't say that word for the life of me. If I use it in a sentence, I have to slow down and just stop speaking just to say that word properly. And so what these philosophies, it's really fun and exciting, because I do have a timeline in a overshadowing with Rudolf Steiner. If you look up any one of his videos, they're amazing videos, and he's a very poignant philosopher. And so I carry a lot of his energies, and he's always with me in my energetic field, and along with a lot of the ancient philosophers as well. But what we're saying now, thank you, Holy Spirit, thank you, Holy Spirit, thank you, Holy Spirit. What we're saying now, thank you, Holy Spirit, is that all of these soul, it's very, very exciting. The soul threadings of you, remember the pods that you belong in, are lifting you up, lifting those soul codes, those soul, they're not remembrances because it's brand new. They are soul seeds. All I can say is that it is a seed, because you have to activate that seed with God to say, I'm ready to be this new version of me in this new earth foundation, this earth seed, this earth grid. You know, it's aligned with the grid. It's aligned with the grid. It's aligned with the grid. Gaia's blueprint for her existentialism, because she's a planetary body, she has planetary genius. Her existentialism in this new galactic bedding, her substrates have changed, which has refined our substrates. It's all micro macro. So we have to begin to see the philosophy, the sociological changes, and how each and every one of you are going to play a part in rewriting it. Because each and every one of you are going to be rewriting New Earth. What does that mean for you? What does it mean to be a sociological embodiment of celestial alien experiences? It's not going to be from because you've cleared those timelines. It's not going to be from a fifth dimensional gray experience in Lyra, right? No, you're going to be this new version of celestial anchoring. The celestial anchoring just means you've got celestial codes now, and they're very, very, very highly intelligent, highly intellectual, highly emotionally available, right? So this is the new meshing of higher genius. It is a genius. It's a genius code. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you, Holy Spirit. And so, and you can be activated in such, again, your ascension pathwork and your tips daily to bring you into alignment of the higher celestial codes and the intelligences of who you are, the genius of who you are, by again being in spirited nature as much as possible, making sure that your fields and your auras and your chakras are cleared and cleansed daily. And again, grounding is really important. When you feel the anxiety, clear out those anxieties by just accepting it and acknowledging it, because you're going to be equally accessing what we just said as far as those celestial codes of remembrance. So it's very, very exciting. And so I'm just going to read you some of the notes about what I was writing. It was just feeling really, really weird and very exciting. I was very, very happy. Because it allows those of us that have had a very high acumen for higher vibrational knowledge and wisdoms to really feel comfortable. We're not meant to continually reverberating old stories of low vibrational, beingness and conformity. We're meant to be anchoring higher genius. And it is, so they're showing me right now, if we look at the planet, if we look at the planet, there's various levels of genius in various levels of the biosphere. And that philosophy from Gaia, because she's been refined, is going to, you're going to understand, because you're carrying the higher celestial intelligence. And so they're saying that the equal shifts in the brain have been to the occipital. That's another word that I have a hard time saying. I look it up all the time too, because there it is. I looked up a video on this last week. Right there. Can you see that, where that line goes? The parieto-occipital lobe. That's where a lot of these adjustments have been, so that the enhancements and the empowerments of that part of the brain and what that is responsible for can help you. Why the brain has to be adjusted and enhanced all the time as you're clearing out and accepting the earth realm experiences of the 51%. If somebody wants to think that your 51% is just all earth timelines of negativity, that's fine too. It doesn't matter. I'm saying that it's, to be a multiverse being, your 51% of all of your experiences that you've clearing is of all realms. It's of everything that is 3 to 5D. And you've had various different bodies, somewhat humanoid. And they do come from other planets, because not everybody here on this planet, especially for me, not everybody here on this planet has had just Earth lifetimes that just need to be cleared. No, these are 3 to 5D experiences. And so what they're saying now is that some of you, because some of you here on the line, some of you have chosen to take on celestial clearing because you've just about transmuted all of your 51%. And so they thank you, the celestial realms and your celestial alien lineages are thanking you for doing the extra transmuting for that lineage. And so just know that. So you've done a great job. And I know it's sometimes a big sigh, like, oh my God, not more, not more karma. But because you're entering into this new sheath of 5D Earth, they'll be very quickly to transcend. And sometimes you can get through it within a week. And it's just, you're going to be noticing. And how you know this, I'm giving you an example. How you know that you're clearing something for your celestial lineage is just what I've experienced this morning, is that a lot of anger and frustration about not being able to be as uniquely diverse, expressive as you're meant to be. It feels like you're dumbing down your intelligence to have a conversation with the average person. That's how it feels. And you're meant to accept that and not judge it, and just move through to know that, and accept yourself as a higher intelligent being, but not to the depression of comparing what's around you. So that is a mastery trait. You have to master that. And you do have to go through that, like you have to transmute that frustration. Like, why can't nobody understand your speech? Right? To you, it's a very, normal, honoring thing to speak of higher vibrational intelligences within the biosphere. But to everybody else, it's not. The biosphere, they just see a tree as a tree. But to a higher intelligent celestial being, no, there's an entire wisdom of ecosystems that are speaking to you vibrationally. They're showing us what's in the soil. They're showing us what does the soil need. How can we nourish our soil? How can we be a better stewards of the soil and the water and the lands and the air? That's what we're going to start downloading. And those of you that are Gaia speakers, Gaia representatives, Gaia ambassadors, really be taking those higher intelligences of celestial intelligence and genius and anchoring it through the humanoid body into the physical reality, and coming up with a whole new experience of, they're showing me affidavits of protection for Gaia, because there's been so many abuses, right? And many of you will be a part of the galactic councils are going to be helping you write these new laws of protection for Gaia, steward laws, if you will. And then you're going to be a part of helping the new laws that are in alignment with the universal laws and this new version of Earth that needs our protection and guidance. Yes, I say protection because there's still many aspects of our movement about the Earth that are detrimental to her. And so we have to raise our vibration and our understanding of how we move and how we operate as vessels affects the biosphere intelligence. We have to understand that. Because again, remember, as I said in the very beginning, and our last 3 videos have been about, who are you and what you exist within is directly interacting with itself. It's now a more permeable experience. It's now a more enmeshing experience. You can now feel the substrate of God. And again, if I give you one of my experiences, I was sitting just being silent and reflective, and all of a sudden I saw a sheath or a vision come towards me of me being on this new version of Earth. This is how visions occur, so that you're slowly showing yourself into new Earth. And it's not going to be you're just waking up one day and there's new Earth, because that would be too much of a shock. The vibration would be too much of a shock. You seeing your entire celestial family and no buildings would be a shock, right? There are new Earths that are created, that we're creating now in the substrate, that there's no houses or buildings. It's just all nature. And we live in these ecopods. So again, you have to slow yourself into these new experiences of New Earth. And so this vision that I had was my celestial families, and in myself as a human, I was giving myself the vision of waking up in New Earth, in this New Earth version, this new experience of environment. And it was like this beautiful land of just nature. It was all nature. And I had just woken up, and as I just said, I had woken up from an Earth experience to New Earth experience, and my celestials were kind of off to the side, and I saw them, and they didn't look human like me. They were Pleiadian. They were a higher version of humanoid. And so I looked at them, and the immediate human reaction, because I have to, in these integrations of your higher celestial beingness, you have to accept the humanoid experience. The humanoid experience is like, oh my gosh, what just happened? And then I ran to a farther away part, right? Because that was the humanoid experience in me, even though my celestial DNA, my celestial knowingness, because I'm a reader, I'm a teacher, I'm a healer, and I know I can read and sense energy, and I've had many visions and many experiences with my celestials. But that humanoid celestial experience, it was still very real. I accepted that humanoid experience of being, I wasn't in fear. I wasn't in fear of them. I was fear of what reality did just pop into, because I didn't realize that I'd popped myself into a reality to show myself that I can bilocate, I can move myself in and out of realms of experience. And I just put myself there, and one of the celestial, one of my family came running up, and I was crouched down like this, and I was talking to the earth about trying to recognize what reality I just moved to, right? And I was like, okay, what the fuck do I do now? You know, I don't have, you know, there's no cars or buildings or anything. I can't go in and phone anybody. And so the celestial being, you know, just put their hand on me, and that touch, because just like me as a healer, that touch reminded me of that permeable environment that was a co-creation. So it was like a touch healing to release the questions of, you know, the minutia that the mental brain, the 3D, 4D, 5D mental brain goes through, is like, how did I get there? The linear. So it's not going to be linear anymore. So that was just an experience of how this more celestial experience is going to shift you in and out of these visual, sensual experiences, so that you can get used to moving in and about timelines, moving in and about experiences. And you've worked through the densities so that you can give yourself the experiences that you need to keep inching your way into multi-vibrational contact, multi-dimensional New Earth, because New Earth is far more multi-dimensional than we are now. We're giving you very high vibrational, genius, intellectual experiences of what it feels like to be multi-dimensional. I gave it from my personal experience. However, everybody watching, if you took yourself to that exact, if you wanted to give yourself this multi-dimensional play, if you will, in your next meditation, give yourself that example of being in an open field, and now you want to be on New Earth. What does that look like? What does it feel like? So that you can actually tell yourself that you want to start moving there in your consciousness and in your meditations through your intention and through your higher self and through your spirit, and then give yourself the visceral, physical, mental, emotional, and experience that you can guide yourself with. That's called being a commander, a commandmentship of your reality, of your experiences. And that's what God is offering to everybody. You're the consciousness guide of who you are. You're the consciousness guide of what vibration you want to experience. I took myself there without even knowing. That's where that fear or the anxiety came in. I wasn't afraid of them. I was like, okay, well, there's no humans like me. It's just me. Because I wanted to give myself that experience. What would it feel like? Because it's the dichotomy of me feeling ultra human celestial amongst a lot of low vibrational dense humans that just kept attacking me for eons. Right? Because they wanted my light, they wanted to feed, they wanted to siphon, they wanted to vampire, right? So I wanted that dichotomy of experience. Okay, well, now that I'm the one that is the dense one, right? The Pleiadians sitting on their Pleiadian field or the New Earth field, they're very high vibrational, and I put myself in their environment. So that was a good way for me to see these reflections, so that you continue that crystalline growth of having everything be multidimensional and putting yourself in all versions of the experience, right? that's where we're talking about this new celestial experience will automatically trigger you to where you don't feel like you fit because it's a low vibrational kind of consciousness, right? So you want to be able to have those minutiae of, okay, well, what if you were the one on the higher, what if you were the low vibrational one in a higher vibrational bedding? And those high vibrational beings were looking at you going, okay, so you're the new kid on the block, right? So it's about allowing yourself to move in that minutia of being all aspects of the wheel, because you are. You know, you're all aspects of that growing minutia of having that higher intelligence, of having that higher availability is really what it is. We want you to go forward from here on out, having a greater, wide open availability to have higher vibrational contact of the higher self, because that higher self is guiding you to these higher vibrational celestial contacts, higher vibrational celestial lineages, experiences. And that's what it feels like. I can guarantee you right now, if you go to nature and if you have the intention to integrate your celestial lineages, to integrate your higher vibrational human lineages, you're going to have one of those experiences within a week. Within 5 days, you'll have one of those experiences where you're going to pop yourself. If you have found that your experiences have been very mundane and boring because there doesn't seem to be too many around you that want to reach to those higher capabilities, to reach into those higher levels of genius. And those are the ones that have been on the path for a while, right? You want that new exciting experience, but you're the one that's taking you there, and we want to break through these permeable mesh points that break us into New Earth territory. So I'm here to inspire you to break through. Don't sit around being bored. You're the one that's here to activate those higher celestial lineage experiences and then anchor them here through being that human experience, right? So that's what's coming next for humanity. Those that have been on the path for a while, you're going to be anchoring your celestial lineage. And that is a very high vibrational activation point. It again, like we said, it's like a tincture. They're saying like a tincture or acupuncture. You're cleansing the density. That light will pierce whatever that density is. And for me, it was again a discrimination of the things that I bring forward, and that's just clearing out my soul's lineages, because I do come from those ancient lineages of persecution and discrimination, because we brought forward a multidimensional version of source creator, of godliness, of potentiality, of possibility, of infiniteness, right? Because we're beings and we're being transmuted every moment by light, if we so choose. It's up to everybody to do their inner work about their belief structures, you know, their so-called, there's a lot of scraping away of the religious structures, because it's really held people in a lot of low vibrational constructs about God. And God is infinite. We are infinite chalices of source. We're infinite chalices of light. We are that multidimensional sacred, you know, crystal that just keeps moving back and forth. And as I said in my experience, if you go back and listen to it again and then offer that to yourself in your own meditations, how do I anchor my celestial lineage experiences? Because it will pull you up to a higher vibration of intelligence. I want to inspire all of you to seek your own genius, to seek your higher vibrational geniuses, to seek your philosophical geniuses of because we're creating templates. We are templates. We are templates of God. Every 51% we clear as we're doing our own ascension pathwork, we are new codes of that template, right? That substrate, that construct is getting higher and higher and higher, right? As you so are, it becomes. So that means you're jumping off and you're bouncing off, and your omnipresent juice that you're working within is higher. That means your healings will be more responsive. You're going to be healing quicker if you're working in alignment of the higher self. And that's why I offer at nighttime those higher self healing sessions. If you want to book an appointment with me on how to get more in alignment and connection and relationship with your multidimensionality, for healing, for transmuting, for youthing, for releasing disease codes and all of those things. Because the substrate is a more refined God essence, right? So, and you're going to be feeling, there's just so many downloads coming on right now. I'm trying to keep up with what they're saying. And this is just this new energy that I'm working in. It's a higher vibrational code. I did a whole bunch of clearing, and so now I'm operating in this new vibration of ancestral celestial genius. And I want everybody to be okay Give this to yourselves for practice all week, right? Practice all week by allowing yourself to be exalting and proud and honoring, because that offsets in, you remember the infinity, right? The more high vibrational, there's the positive, neutral, and the negative. As you're offering yourself more exaltation and pride in knowing that you have higher vibrational genius that's being activated, as you're clearing away the lower vibrational densities, and as you're accepting those moments when you do judge, like when that frustration of, not having higher intelligent people to talk to, not having higher philosophical people to talk to, not thinking that you don't wait for the new philosophies of New Earth. Start creating it. Start writing about it. Start being those new philosophies. Start being those new anchorings of excitement of your celestial ancestry coming through and offering you a story to blog, right? Start bringing in aspects of newness to this new earth version. You're here to create those new higher intelligent stories. You're here to create those new higher vibrational ancestral experiences, because you're speaking on behalf, you are a vessel on behalf of the heavens and your ancestry, celestial ancestry and human ancestry, because it's all shifting and it's all changing, right? We're not going to keep pulling from the old earth stories. And this is another one that I wanted to talk about. Is that as we're moving up in these new meshing of bedding of substrates, the substrates are more refined source light, source energy. These energies and these codes and the lights that are in the new bedding are pulling up and transmuting and going back to source old Akashic timelines. So Gaia's old Akashic timelines aren't going to be there for us to pull on anymore, because that wounding has been healed. And that's what a lot of us as empaths, those of you, a lot of my clients I know, because I've been with you, you've been with me for years. A lot of your time here has been to heal various parts of Gaia, the stories of Gaia, right? And so you've done a lot of that clearing of those lineages in the Akash that sit on Gaia, the grids of Gaia. Those grids and those Akash, because the Gaia and her grids and the Akash are one and the same, right? As Gaia is being healed of wars and tragedies and traumas and all of those things, discrimination of timelines, discrimination of beings, discrimination of races, discrimination of dogma, and all of those things, as those are being healed by each and every one of us, those Akashic timelines are being sent back to source for purification and refinement, and then we get the next highest version of that Akash. So again, it's like they showed me this morning. Show you the little picture that I drew. Getting into high vibrations. Ooh, ooh, ooh. So this earth, right here, so those golden lines that are coming up, those are the stories of the old Akash. There's they showed me cords, these cords of the old Akashic timelines, of these old woundings that we've healed as a collective. Many of the empaths, many of the conduits, many of the light workers that we work with the grids, we work with Gaia, we work with certain sacred parts of the planet. All of those cords and those stories were pulled up. It's they showed me 3 cords that were being pulled up from Gaia. And those Akashic stories that go with those stories of the various human traumas, of the various Gaia traumas, those are being recycled back into source, because as I said, again, the beehive, everything that is healed gets pulled up and then recycled back to source. That is what's called the unification, the reunification, the wholeness of itself. You with you, you're reintegrating your wounds, so too is Gaia, and those are going back into source for reunification. Gaia is now hitting a higher substrate, a higher core code, higher core Schumann resonance, higher core biosphere energy. Everything in and of itself carries a higher story. That's why you're going to need your celestial genius to interpret and process. So that's why, again, the brain, I wish I could say that word. I have to put on my glasses. Again, if you listen to this video 2 or 3 times, it makes more sense if you just sit and relax in it. The occipital sulcus. They just called it the occipital lobe. The occipital lobe. And the occipital lobe is what has been going, is having, and again, the occipital lobe and any other part of your brain that is usually enhanced or upgraded by your celestial teams, your healing teams. If you're in attunement with your bodies, your multidimensional bodies, if you're in refinement of how you're moving in your ascension path, if you are in an intention and oneness with your ascension path work, and working with your teams and working with your higher self, the corpus callosum of the brain usually has activation part and is that divine sacred heart. The corpus callosum is the divine sacred heart of the brain. It helps harmonize and mesh, releasing the lower vibrational experiences and harmonizing into higher vibrational experiences. And that's just a given. So, and these are only wisdoms that are taught through me. Okay, obviously the medical books won't tell you any of that because again, we're celestial, right? We're tapping into our celestial genius. So for the rest of this week, give yourself little fun tests to give yourself pride and joy and exaltation in claiming of who you are as a multi-vibrational being. Start there. I'm a multi-vibrational being. What does that mean for me? And then reflect. Clearings from the vibrational throat chakra. And every time that you do claim this, again, your chakras get cleared. So you're the one that's allowing yourself to precognate and determine and destine yourself for a higher vibrational genius. That's what I'm empowering all of you. Empower yourselves to begin being the higher vibrational genius, the celestial genius, the multi-vibrational genius, the multiversal genius. Because then all of that human low vibrational stuff just moves itself away. You're not stuck in a dogmatic box. You're not stuck in an educational box. You're not stuck in a preconditioned box that wasn't even yours to begin with. They're imprints that were projected at you from all the systems that we thought were okay. We thought we created these systems of separation, and that's okay, right? It served us. But now we want you to start being pride-filled and exalting in who you are as a higher intelligent being, a higher genius being, because that will start moving into the harmony of all that you are as a multi-vibrational being, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And you're going to start harmonizing a higher minutia of experience and refined order, because as you call it, you're calling those energies to you. You're calling those energies from within you. Right? Once you start stating that you're a healed, higher vibrational being, your cells start to remember things differently. Your cells will start to look for in the brain and in the innate, how am I a higher vibrational being? I've talked many shows. If you go back to my KCOR shows, I talked a lot about the innate. The innate is like the motherboard to who you are within all creation. So your innate, when you're working with your innate, you can call any of those experiences down and anchor it into you, the highest vibrational healed version of you, the highest vibrational herbalist of you, the higher vibrational theoreticalist of you. Whatever it is that's there in your Akashic field is there for you to pull on and anchor down. That's why you do have to go through the clearing. That's why, again, you do have to have those brain enhancements by your celestial teams. Your celestial teams know exactly what they're doing. It's up to each and every person to take commandmentship of who they are as a multivibrational God being and say, okay, teams, what are we working on? And then you do your work, as I said in my last video, about doing your open channels, doing your channeled writings, getting in touch with who you are as a higher vibrational being. Don't wait for anybody to bring new philosophical teachings to earth for new earth. That's what we're here for. We're creating in this minutia and this new soup, this new refined omnipresence, this new refined substrate of the informations that are allowing us to now see and know ourselves as philosophical beings with higher vibrational teachings. Each and every one of us is going to play a part of the new design of earth. It's like each and every one of you are a different color, and we're creating this new canvas together. So don't wait for anybody to come forward. I'm one conduit for God. I'm one conduit and a vessel for the multiverse. So my multiverse celestial experiences are only one experience. It's only one color in the whole palette. We're meant to bring these philosophical experiences forward, and that's why knowing of thyself, practicing of thyself, creative genius of thyself, creative expression in the 3 E's and the 3 A's, and then the 4th E, which is your evolution of the soul in and of itself. You want to have fun with practicing being a genius. You want to have fun practicing and letting go of the anxieties of judgment and comparing. And that is a big one for every human, because that's how we've all been brought up. That's in every one of our systems. right? So those are things that, again, on the opposite side of the infinity symbol, when you're recognizing a pattern, as I said this morning, I was releasing the anxiety and the judgment, or the experience of not having that higher intelligence experience to communicate and co-create with. And so then that vision came in to show me, okay, well, what if you're in a higher vibrational realm, but you are the lower vibrational intelligent being? And so you get to have that minutia and that anchoring and that permeability, because that's how you create new earth. Because the new earth is already there. You're just reaching up for that vibration. And that's why you need masters. That's why you're tapping into, okay, what can I work with a Pleiadian guide? Can I work with an Arcturian guide? There's always higher vibrations. That's how you bring those higher vibrations down into your reality and bring a higher vibrational expression of you out. That's why, again, you're moving through ascension and transmuting all that you ever have been through the 3 E's. That's all that matters. In your soul's expression, those 3 E's is all that matters. You become higher vibrational. You become a higher genius. You become your celestial experiences in those 3 E's. And that's how your teams know, are they evolving? And if those 3 E's are not evolving, and we've come from very, very dark conformed experiences where we were pretty much enslaved, that's not evolution. Enslavement is not evolution. It's very low vibrational. Dominance and control are the lowest vibrational energies that any species of an experience can move through. There's no adaptation. It's just control and dominance. So therefore, we have to allow ourselves to absolutely exalt and get excited in who we are as higher vibrational intelligent beings. And part of my soul's story now will be to bring celestial ancestral philosophies, because the philosophies for New Earth will include celestial energies, celestial stories, as each and every one of you are going to be exploring alien celestial remembrances, because that's what your activations through the DNA, through your multidimensional activations in your Ascension pathwork. I have 3 books that I've written about Ascension. So if you go to Amazon, Barnes and Noble, look up any one of my books, they help you understand what I'm talking about. And of course, the 700 videos that I've produced help you understand the Ascension pathwork, a very sacred experience, and it's a very sacred process of you harmonizing with the soul self, of you harmonizing with higher and higher aspects as you're clearing those and integrating the aspects of the wounding, aspects of the shadow psyche, because that's what the psyche is. The psyche is just mirrored experiences of the micro macro of source. And each and every one of us came to be ascension agents for Source Creator, so that we can teach and show others that, yes, when you accept and integrate your shadow, you're becoming more light. And you're learning how to have that peace and that balance of dichotomy, because it's needed. You have to have the dichotomy to understand the evolution of all that is. That is that contraction and expansion of our entire multiverse. And so that's why I gave you that experience of me reaching into this higher experience and the equal frustration and anger of not having a co-creation here on my physical earthly experience. But I gave myself an experience where I was also in another experience of co-creation with beings that were much higher than me. And so we're able to move those experiences of judgment or comparability off of ourselves and transmute them and become higher in vibration. So I'm giving you examples of the process of ascension, how you move through these various activation points, how you move through these various touch points, if you will, that when you're activated in your celestial lineage, they're a high vibrational activation, and it's going to pull out those little pockets of density, those little pockets of stories, those little pockets of, further judgments that you had about yourself or others, because we're here for the reunification and oneness of all that God is. And why, when you look at these higher vibrational intelligent manners of becoming, and we're becoming these higher vibrational integrative beings, and we're being proud about being geniuses, we're being proud about being celestial download agents, we're able to download all of these beautiful creative experiences and anchor them to the earth and blog and write and draw and have poetry and do songs and all of these beautiful things that we're becoming higher vibrational creative agents. We allow ourselves to truly start walking and breaking into these new doors of co-creation. And it really breaks away all conformities of what was. And we don't have to worry about the spiritual warfare, if you will, about being placed in boxes, because we're so far above the monotony of that. You're just taking yourself right out of those experiences, and you're anchoring in that higher, because it's so much more nourishing The soul in and of itself, and when we talk about the 3 E's, the soul in of and itself wants to be nourished. When you awaken to who you are as a celestial, multi-vibrational, multi-dimensional being, there's so much nourishment and there's so much juice there. It's like a really big sandwich. And you don't want to go back to a sandwich that just has, a really skinny piece of bologna on it and unnourishing bread. You want the Big Mac sandwich. You want, and I say Big Mac in your making of your own Big Mac, not the Big Mac, because we all know the nutrition standards of a Big Mac. Right? It's so much more nourishing. A celestial sandwich of who you are becoming as a soul. That's why doing the work is worth it. Like do the daily ascension path work. What are you being triggered on? Accept it, own it. Bring it in for a story, do some blogging on it, express it. The 3 E's are so, so, so important. Water break. So each and every one of you can look up the occipital lobe. And then just sit in quiet reflection. And this is how I empower everyone to be their highest version of change agent, right? So Spirit, if you're just sitting in reflection and go out in nature and just sit there with your pad of paper or your journal, and you just ask for a beautiful higher vibrational download. And then you just sit, and you might get one word, you might get a story, you might get a flower, you might get something that just triggers you to write it down. And then you just allow yourself to free flow in source. And that's channeled writing. That's where you know that you're more and more harmonized and meshed as your higher self. Because you want to be a creative agent, and this is what I inspire in all of my sessions, is I'm a creative consultant, I'm a free agent, and I'm a freelance, if you will, for source creator. I inspire people to get aligned in who they are, in the higher vibrational experiences of who they are as their higher self. And when they know that they do have a higher alignment, they do have a higher creativity, they do have a celestial intelligence, they do have a beautiful array of orchestration, if you will. It's a total orchestration. It's so elegant, it's so beautiful, and that's why I love talking about the soul's blueprint so very much. This next level of soul's blueprint will absolutely be the anchoring of your celestial lineage. Those celestial lineages have everything to do with where Gaia is going, with where humanity is going, with where New Earth is going. And again, as we've talked about in all of our videos, how you know is when you're returning to that now impression. What excites you most? As God gave me that channel statement last week, we strive only in joy. The manifestation is just the unfolding of that. And so have that as a now impression mantra. I strive to seek joy. How do you find joy? Well, I usually feel a lot of joy when I'm crying or letting out that release. I can feel that. It feels so good to feel that pain get out of my body, get out of my organs. I feel joy when I'm painting. I feel joy when I'm doing my singing. I feel joy when I'm creating poetry. Those are the things that you have to ask yourself again, why knowing yourself is so important. Who are you? What do you exist within, and what exists in you? What is the joy within you? What is that access point for that higher celestial that higher celestial code to be downloaded? As you're acting in more joy, everything is just a manifestation, right? So that's why the 3 E's are so, so important to your evolutionary process. Because if you're expressing joy, and if you're seeking joy, and if you're in alignment of joy, you will be in alignment of the higher self. It's just a given. Your higher self is ultimate joy. Your higher self is constantly showing you, if you let that go, you're going to be in more joy. If you heal that, and if you say sorry, you're going to be in so much more joy. If you let go of that addiction, you're going to be in so much more joy, because your body's going to release all those things that you brought with it. Every addiction comes with an equal negative in your body. We all know that. And it's always a story, right? So just know that you're going to be seeing the correlations. Again, the higher vibrational intelligence you are, you can see whatever is before you or within you, and then you can see the patterns and the correlations, right? Because that's what makes you an intelligent being. You don't have to have anybody direct you or tell you. No, I absolutely know what's going on. I can read energy. Put anything before me, and I'll discern quietly and softly, and I will allow the information to come to me. That's how you know you're a master. You're not forcing it. You're not looking for something to be. No, you're just going to allow the story to come forward to you. That is being a conduit. That's being an empath. That's being a reader. Because everything has a story. You're not forcing the story. You're not telling the story what the story is. You're going to allow that vibrational story to come forward and just allow itself. Right? It has a vibrational story of God. You're now interacting as a higher version of God. You're now giving yourself permission to be a genius of reading the allowance of God. It's allowance. So make sure that that is in your daily activity, is allowing. I'm allowing the story of God to come forward, and I'm going to read it in whatever energy I'm in right now. And again, if you're in a negative energy, you're going to read a lower vibrational story. Because remember, there's infinite layers and there's infinite threads and there's infinite beddings of whatever that God story is. The higher vibration that you are, the higher vibration of oneness and alignment you are, that higher vibrational story you'll read. That's why I'm entering into a higher vibrational version of me. If I go back into any one of the sacred sites that I've been to previously, if you will, if in my past, because I was a different version of me, that spiritual story of that sacred land is going to change. I'm going to bring a higher vibrational story of that land. Obviously, because you're a high vibrational being, right? So that code, that biosphere, all of the energies in nature are going to be changed because you've changed. You're reading the higher vibration of God allowance. It's all God allowance. And as remember in that story I said earlier last summer, when I hadn't eaten for 5 days and God said, just go for a walk. And I said, okay, well, how is going for a walk going to help me not think about how hungry I am, right? But God knew what I needed. This multi-vibrational being of me, I needed to be nourished in that vibrational way that God showed me. By going for a walk, I was nourished. And I ended up coming across a beautiful, robust, thank you, Holy Spirit, a beautiful, robust experience of blackberries. And I was able to be nourished. I ate blackberries. And then farther down my walk, there was a little crab apple tree, so I had a crab apple. So then my physical part of my body was seeing and sensing that food, but the multi-vibrational fields of me, the nourishment of me needed that nature. Because I'm a hybrid, I'm an ultra human, and I'm not gonna, feel bad or negative about, calling myself and defining myself and designing myself and creating myself in different ways. I want to be happy and I want to be enlightened and I want to be higher vibrational because I want to empower everybody that comes to my videos. I want you to empower yourself to be decorative. I want you to be diverse. I want you to be feeling vibrantly awkward in your newness. I want you to feel vibrantly bold in allowing yourself to be a genius, an intellectual genius, an emotional genius, a celestial genius. And it's all going to be anchoring in these beautiful new codes for Earth. Right? And so allowing yourself these minutiae of higher vibrational downloads, and because we're in a new Earth experience, and it's going to be really, really fun. We're redefining, philosophy. We're not going to be going to old books anymore, as I said in my last video. They're going to be a place that we can honor, and we can say, yes, those old books are very, very beautiful for where we were at, but now we're in a new version of New Earth, and we're going to need new philosophies. We're going to need new socioeconomic malleable structures that are more based in the alignment of the heavens. Remember, as that video that I said, I think it's called New Earth Governance, and Galactic Federations and Lord Sananda, we're downloading how we're going to be aligning our laws, how we're going to be aligning our healings, how we're going to be aligning medical facilities, learning facilities, light learning facilities, all of these things that are going to be higher vibrational, because it's going to be in alignment of the heavens of 5D, and it's not going to be we can't be a 5D experience and still processing things in 3D ways. And I say processing as far as signing up for a school, right? That's a process. When you go to a university, you have to fill out paperwork, you have to do this, you have to do that. And it's a process. So we're going to be cutting the red tape and all of those things, and we're going to be creating higher vibrational ways. Because we're higher vibrational beings, there's new intelligences. There's new ways of being, and everybody's going to be needed. This is why, again, when you're starting to behave and allow yourself the genius of who you are, you're letting go a lot of all of those old experiences where people were competing and people were judging and taking and harvesting and trying to be you and trying to swap and trying to take your gift and all those really low vibrational earthly experiences of those people that just have no understanding about spirituality. They don't have any understanding about the practices of being spiritual and being ranked spiritually within yourself, your spiritual soulful ranking, because the soul of you is going to be needed to write new philosophies. And you can't know that if you're operating and cycling and spiraling and trying to take someone's destiny. You're trying to take someone's spiritual gift, And that's why all the secret societies and covens and cults that operate in taking other people's gifts and taking other people's energy and taking other people's magical talents and all of those things that they so misguided. But that's a part of the minutia, and that's a part of the learning as well, right? It's just, it's a long way around the healing process, because you're going to be having karma, and you have to clear that karma to move ahead. You're not going to move into higher gifts when you're still operating and taking someone's spiritual gifts and putting blocks on them in voodoo so that they don't move anywhere and they don't go anywhere and they don't be anything. That's a lot of karma. Those are the spiritual laws you've just crossed, and you're going to be, having your protection and your experiences that were blessings taken away from you. Everybody's going to be needed because everything is going to be rewritten. So the uniqueness of everyone, again, finding out who are you, what excites you, what is your joy? Seek your joy. Seeking your joy is going to be a daily, hourly thing. Allow yourself to come forward with whatever's triggering you, whatever those energies are of the negative part of the infinity, because everything is a minutia of now. Everything is being transmuting. You're a transmutational specialist. You're transmuting, you're transmuting, you're transmuting. What are your beliefs now? Who are you? What do you exist within? What's going on within you? And it's ever raising the vibration of who you are in your version of Earth. And the more that you accept and honor all that you are and say, yeah, I've got some new things to anchor on this beautiful planet. What can I offer? It's about you. Who are you? It has nothing to do with anybody outside of you. It never did and it never will. They're just the versions of reflective stories that are showing you something. So what is the reflective story showing you now? What is it showing you now? As you go through clearing, you're going to have higher vibrational reflections in front of you. That's why we've said for a very long time, get out into Gaia, because she's the highest reflection of who you are. She carries a higher vibrational reflection of stories, of intelligence, of philosophies, of medicine. And so many of you that are Gaia ambassadors will be helping many on the planet understand and learn about higher vibrational medicines and healing modalities. And they're going to come right from Gaia, because she's upgraded. So they were showing me, I'll read off some of my things. So the title for today was transitioning into higher vibrational realms of being. And that means that Gaia will be encoded to that of an equal union of the collective. Because remember, everybody's on a different earth. So if you've been on the path of ascension for a really long time, you've been, you're very aware of when you're being triggered. You're very aware of the densities you're carrying. You're very aware of when you get angry and all of those emotions you're meant to feel in the shadow. And you're acknowledging it and you're working with that and you're integrating it. And you're booking the healing sessions when you need an activation, or you're booking you're doing your, we have monthly ascension classes, and you're allowing yourself to stay in alignment of the highest vibrational version of you, right? And it is a minutia. It's always a minutia of negative, neutral, and positive. That is who we are as God vessel beings. And then we can let go of everything we've been taught sociologically. We can let go of everything we've been taught dogmatically, and all of those things that we used to measure ourselves on. Because as again, the 3D version of how we used to learn and be is not who we are in the 5D version. And we want to create very beautiful, high consciousness, high genius templates for a new version of how are we learning to be who we are. It's going to begin right within. As within, so as within, right? So without and as above, so below. We're aligning with our higher self. That is the highest version of who we are. We're aware of our chakras. We're aware of our fields. We're aware of who we are celestially. We're aware of who we are in the alien experiences of who we are. Our DNAs are activating in similitude. Our DNAs are acting in synergistic complement of the Gaia energy, of the substrate. Because remember, it's always a co-creation. The outer is a godly experience. And it's interacting with us. God is God. God is everything. Remember, that's consciousness. As you are aware, it becomes so. So, okay, where are we activating ourselves? That's your now impression. I want to be on the highest vibrational creative earth. Creativity is everything. That's my direction. That's my soulful intention. I'm going to create every day. I'm going to express that creativity every day. One day it might be poetry. One day it might be singing. One day it might be songwriting. One day it might be just creating a new template for a class, right? You are infinite in your creative abilities. You don't just have one gift. That is the seeking of the joy. God's joy for you is infinite. Thank you, Holy Spirit. So here's an example God was just saying. In the experience of you, of all that you are, God loves you so much. God gives you any body that you want. God can say, okay, you want to be light gray, you can have a light gray body. You want to be a Lyran feline, you can be a Lyran feline. You want to be a Pleiadian tall white, you can be a Pleiadian tall white. You want to be an Arcturian 3-foot triangular being, you can be a triangular being. You can have whatever body that you want. God doesn't just have one joy of you. God has infinite joys of you. Source has infinite joys of you. Again, why would we say only one religion or only one type of leader should be on the planet? No, there's infinite joys of leadership on the planet. Everyone's going to be that template of itself, of thyself, the godliness of godliness. And everybody gets to design it. And isn't that a lot more fun than staying within a confine of construct of biblical experience when that's all it is? Because most people that live inside those constructs and hide behind those constructs of the religions and the bricks and mortars, they're very, very staunched within the boxes and the walls and the doors and the windows, and nothing ever opens. Because that's where they feel safe. And that's okay. That's a poignant point in time, but that's not all that you are. If you take a script of a movie, because there are those of there are those that are creative geniuses that are watching me in sports and entertainment. You take a script of a movie and you take the main character, or you take the sub-character. Sub-character is anybody else in the movie. And that helps support, and it helps catalyze, and it helps be that dichotomy of the main character's role to bring forward the deepest, most entrenching, most beautiful, most cosmic, most celestial, crystalline aspect of whatever that character wants to portray. That script is words and letters and exclamation points, and it's ways that a story is told. That character brings that story to life. We are the mirror reflection, and we are the aspects, and we are the vessel of source creator God. It's a very similar parable. We're in that story with source creator. We can have a different body tomorrow, biochemically and biophysically, synergistically in the essence that is God. God lives through us as an essence, if you so choose. If you're not directing it, which a lot of the lower vibrational dogmatic systems don't do, they don't focus anything on vibration. They never talk about vibration. They never talk about the chakras in vibrational oscillation and synergy with source, with breath. So again, how is that an alignment of source? They're liturgies. Okay, and what about the rest of source? What about the rest of God, right? God is seeking joy. So where's the rest of that joy package? Where's the rest of that joy story? There is a joyful story within you, and God sees you and experiences you in all bodies, all forms, all versions of you. That's where we can release all judgment. That's where I was yesterday, but now I'm a new version of me, and I know my chemistry, my body, my cells are changing, my DNA got activated, my mind is being rewired, my pathways of the synapses are changing, the occipital lobe is changing. All of those things help you become a new being, and that's why Jesus always spoke of the eternal life. You are eternally being shifted with God. You're eternally being shifted in new versions of joy. God says, okay, Joanna, I want to be in that new version of your new body and that new philosophical experience that you want to teach and you want to heal and you want to be this and this. God is giving you 100% equal measure a new body to go with it. Does that make sense? Seeking of the joy is all encompassing. That's what the message is of today. You're transitioning into higher realms of beingness. The seeking of the joy is all encompassing. It's all encompassing to your physical, because your physicality is changing with every new oscillation of light. And that's a high vibrational statement. That's a celestial statement. That's a celestial genius statement. The joy is all encompassing. That is a Christed statement that's filled with Christed codes. That means your intelligence changes. That means your body changes. That means your cells change. That means the environment just got changed as I said that. Those are codes of intelligence being placed into templates. And you can choose to take it and wander and ponder in it and then reflect on it and get that download and unpack your own downloads and sit and do your channeled writings, and you can do whatever you choose. It's always free will how you take commandmentship of your path with God. Your relationship and your partnership with Source Creator is equal opportunity with Gaia, because Gaia is now being upgraded in beautiful, honoring ways, and we are a co-creator with her. If we want to seek new medicines for the healing of breast cancer, it's there in the field. And then sit back and see if you can read it. See if you can bring that forward. See if you can create your new philosophical blog of exploration, of experience, of exploring what is going on. That's your 3 E's. That's you being a fully aligned, fully attuned 5D version of you. And it's always seeking. That seeking is multidimensionally, all-encompassing, 100% complete. Why? Because that's God's gift to you. Christed experience is God's gift to you. It's the whole toolkit. You're not going to have to go away later and think, okay, well, how can I now design my body anew? No. When you're in alignment of joy, your body is being upgraded. Say that to yourselves. When I am in alignment of joy, everything about me is being upgraded and enhanced and healed, period. It's all encompassing. Say that to yourself 100 times a day. And that will just automatically, synchronistically bring you into greater pathways, greater synchronicities, and greater opportunities of joy. That's God. Remember, the omni is working with you. God's working with you. As you state it, so it is. As you become it, so it is. As you say, yes, I'm so happy about my genius. I'm exalting in my genius today. Let's go, God. And God downloads, and all of a sudden you just say what you know. You don't have to go research. You don't have to do anything. It helps doing the research because it allows the brain part of yourself to think and harmonize itself with higher functioning. Higher functioning is your higher self, and they're not the pathways of what you used to learn in a 3D school. That's why I'm saying what I'm saying. Everything that I say has purpose and meaning. Your higher vibrational surrender to your higher self allows the brain to be higher vibrational, and it thinks differently. It's patterned differently. It's not a 3D pattern. Everything I say makes sense on a higher vibrational level. And it's okay if you're not there yet. Don't judge yourself. I'm saying that as you seek joy, I am so joyful about teaching God, about teaching Source, about teaching Omnipresent, about teaching 5D Earth, about teaching healing, about teaching the expansion of all that is. I'm just aligned. And my body gets healed immediately. That's eternal life. That's God. That's God's blessing for you. That's why God is so graceful. And it's beyond what you could ever learn in a church or a book or a Bible. And I'm not saying anything derogatory about that. I'm saying humanity can move forward in such profound ways if we get outside of the religious boxes. And if religious leaders and religious so-called, I don't know what they're called, people that lead the churches, whatever those people and those beings are, they would do so much greater good for themselves to start adding and implementing Ascension teachings of Source Creator. They would be doing their patrons a world of good. And if they truly loved their patrons, if they truly loved their churches, that's what they would do. They would seek the healing of the higher Source Creator, because everything has to level up. And if it doesn't level up, it will move away. We're evolving and it's not stopping. So those that want, as I said, I'm a creative consultant for 5D Earth. If you want to have consulting sessions and appointments, then pay for a session and we can have an exploratory experience about what is your true passion, what is your true soul joy. And then you bring it to your physical world and you start bringing new minutia, new energy, new insights, new explorations, because your patrons are looking for it. Your patrons are looking to you as a guide. So you're here to amplify, you're here to level up, you're here to expand who you are as a guide for Source Creator. That is also called God. Again, the more malleable you are with all that is Source Creator, everything is becoming one. You become a higher vibrational pastor. You become a higher vibrational church patron. Right? You're transmuting it. You're bringing things to your church that's never been brought before. You're bringing a new version of Source Creator to your church, to your patrons. You're saying, yeah, it's all about the 3 E's. It's all about the 3 A's. Let's get busy and being Source. And then every Sunday you can bring one passage of the Bible, and then you can transmute it into higher vibrational wisdoms, because your higher self is giving you those higher downloads of liturgies. Your higher self is giving you new liturgies if you so choose. It's not going to do it if all you do is rely on the Bible that was done 3,000 years ago, that's been modified and amended and manipulated 8 billion times since then by misogynistic men that want power. It's not the same version that it was in many of the originations. Everybody knows that. So we don't have to go back and forth in the smallness of it. Everything about our realities will be rewritten and everybody will be needed, because everybody has a different creative joy factor. Your joy factor is not what it was last year. Your joy factor is not what it was in your high school. Your joy factor was all of those things, right? So you're going to be allowing this minutia of higher vibrational experiences to be this new version of Earth, this new version of experience. And so allow those experiences. The chronology, the mouth and the brain network, and the chronology of your learning and histories will shift and change based on the median, MEDIAN, of the earth or the pod or the core vibration consciousness of each within it. So remember, your pod, the median energy, the median vibrational core point of your pod, of your family, of your environment, of your workforce, they're only going to be producing that unless there's light infused, unless there's new infused, unless there's genius infused. That's light, that's God, that's the Christ consciousness, right? It's always expanding, it's always growing. But if that pod is not doing anything, and it's stuck within old beliefs, and it's stuck within stagnant energies, stuck within stagnant practices, stuck within low vibrational practices, it's not going to go anywhere. So again, I'll read that again. And we connect to then higher intelligence, right? Chronology is like linear histories. That's no more. So practice with that. The lineage and the histories of Earth is changing. And as I said earlier in my example, if I go to a sacred site, that story of what I download in that sacred site, it will be different. Because the lineages, the ancestral downloads and anchoring, the Akashic taking out that God and the celestial councils and all of humanity has been a part of, those lower vibrational Akashic stories have been taken out and pulled out. So the chronology and the lineages have now changed for the Earth templates. That's very, very important that you get that. Because again, if you're going through an everyday life and you're just saying, okay, Earth Akashic stories were the same and they're always going to be the same, they're not. Akashic timelines for Earth are changing as our consciousness changes. Because those low vibrational stories don't need to be in the grid. Why would we do that? It's like going back and keep reopening a scar. Once those stories of the Akash, once those stories of Gaia are healed, it's like that scar tissue is completely healed over. And it's given a new band-aid, a new bedding, a new omnipresent field to be nourished by, right? So it's constantly being leveled up. The grids are constantly being leveled up. So those old stories, Akashic stories, have to come out because we don't need to keep returning to the wounds, right? So we're now being, in the beehive, we're now being fed higher vibrational experiences. Those lower vibrational templates are now being pulled out and culled out and moved away. So I'll read that again. Chronology is in part and parcel to lineage and linear histories. It's changing, right? So don't go back to linear times and don't go back to linear stories or histories where it's all brand new. The Akash has just been changed for humanity. The collective humanity Akash has just been changed. That's why things feel so different. Because all of us are being prepared to go into higher vibrational experiences of co-creation. We have to have those higher vibrational experiences, right? We want to be able to level up new templates of our co-creation. So I'll read that sentence again. And this is about philosophy and sociology in the higher vibrational realm. So today our topic was transitioning into higher vibrational realms of beingness, your multidimensionality. So that means you're entering into new celestial genius. That celestial genius will allow you to operate in higher philosophies, higher sociologies of who you are as a multidimensional being. And it is part and parcel to Gaia's genius, because Gaia's genius is changing. The chronology of your learning and the histories will shift and change based on the median of the earth pod and the collective. All of our vibrations have an effect. The more higher consciousness we are, have an effect on the lineages and the histories and the chronology. It's all changed. Those lower Akashic stories were taken out and transmuted. The enhancements of the interdimensionality within, your interdimensionality, right? Every time you have a DNA activation, your interdimensionality is changed and shifted. Because you're operating in a higher functioning of your DNA, right? It all makes sense because you're multidimensional, right? Your DNA has been shifted to a new percentage of celestial, alien, humanoid, higher vibrational intelligence. That DNA activation allows you to remember and activate and tap into new multiversal gifts, tools, and Christed remembrances. That's why we want to keep reaching higher for celestial genius. And it all comes through, again, part and parcel to the DNA activations. That's your Christed toolkit. So again, the enhancements of the interdimensionality within, remember, you're a multidimensional being, your cells are multidimensional, your DNA is multidimensional, you can operate within your body in new healing modalities multidimensionally, you're interacting as a steward with the biosphere multidimensionally, you're becoming a multidimensional experience and being. The enhancements of the interdimensionality within you will be lifting new appropriate Earth stories, and the histories will be required that are specific to your race, to your collective, and the experiences will require new beingness. Because remember, as those old stories get pulled out, you're going to be downloading and you're going to be behaving in this new experiential, your new experience. Yeah, it's your celestial experience. So experiential. As we said in the very beginning, that word, existentialism, you're a new all-encompassing existentialism of God, a higher version of you. And that means the stories of Gaia will change, the histories, the Akash is all changed. The Akash is changed. And those that are operating in the highest and the best, they're constantly in the seeking of joy of who they are. Those stories are going to be operating from a higher intelligence, and we get to download higher philosophies, higher ways of being, right? The Akashic lineage and the histories are being pulled out as the new timelines and your now impression. Remember, you're now excitement, you're now joy, you're now impression, those pulsations of excitement, pulsations of creativity, pulsations of the 3 E's and the 3 A's. All of those pulsations help create the bedding and the templates of the new earth that you're co-creating. That's why those lower vibrations have to come out, because they're no longer needed. We don't want to keep returning to scar tissue, right? We want to keep transmuting, creating new templates that are higher refined and higher light, higher ways of behaving. And it's all creativity, because your creativity is directly aligned to your higher self. When you're being creative, you're in your highest expression of joy. Sometimes too, that is also true when you're